You're lying in bed, the lights are off, you're trying to sleep, and that's exactly when your brain decides to start a war. Suddenly, you're not in bed anymore. You're standing in front of the person who hurt you, and this time, you have the words, all of them, and they land perfectly. Now you're somewhere else. Someone you love is in danger, and somehow, you're the one who gets there in time. You're the reason they're okay. Then it flips. Now it's you who's gone, and the people who never gave you the time of day are the ones standing in the front row, wishing they had. None of it happened. Not 1 second of it was real, but your heart rate changed anyway. Your chest got tight anyway. Somewhere in your body, it counted. That's the part almost nobody talks about. This isn't daydreaming for fun. It's not boredom. Psychologists have spent decades studying exactly why your mind does this, and the answer isn't as simple as, you have a wild imagination. It's older than that, stranger than that. And by the end of this video, you'll know exactly which version of it your brain runs on repeat. It's not just bedtime either. It's in the car, at a red light. It's in a waiting room, staring at a wall. It's mid-conversation with someone, nodding, while half of you is somewhere completely different. Your body stays in the room, the rest of you doesn't. So, today we're going somewhere most psychology videos don't go. 4 real mechanisms, actual theories from cognitive and evolutionary psychology, that explain exactly why your brain builds these scenes, in this order, with these themes. Stick around, because reason number 3 is the one almost nobody sees coming. Here's the first thing to understand. Your brain isn't built to just record your life. It's built to predict it. Neuroscientists call this predictive processing. In plain terms, your brain is constantly running a few seconds ahead of reality, guessing what's about to happen so it isn't caught off guard. Most of the time, you don't notice, because the predictions are boring. You predict the next step on the stairs, the next word in a sentence. But hand that same machine a quiet room and an empty schedule, and it doesn't shut off. It just points itself somewhere bigger, an argument, a rescue, a funeral. It's not malfunctioning. It's doing exactly what it's built to do, just with nothing real to predict. So it starts predicting things that don't exist yet. Let's start with reason 1, the danger scenes. The ones where someone you love is in trouble, and you're the one who saves them. There's a theory in evolutionary psychology for this, called threat simulation theory. The idea is simple. For most of human history, imagining danger before it happened kept you alive. The ones who mentally rehearsed, what if a predator comes from that direction, survived more often than the ones who didn't. Think of it like a vaccine. A vaccine doesn't wait for the real virus. It introduces a small, harmless version first. So your body already knows what to do if the real thing ever shows up. Your brain does the same thing with danger. It runs you through the crisis in advance. Harmless, imaginary, low stakes. So, if it ever actually happens, some part of you has already rehearsed the response. You're not being dramatic. You're being vaccinated against panic. Reason 2, the winning the argument scenes. The version of you who finally says the perfect thing. Psychologists Markus and Nurius have a name for this. Possible Selves Theory. Their research found that part of how humans build identity is by mentally trying on versions of themselves that don't exist yet. The confident self, the successful self, the self who finally stands up for themselves. It's less like fantasy and more like a fitting room. You're not lying to yourself. You're testing an outfit before deciding whether to wear it in real life. That's why the savage comeback scenario is so common. You're not just imagining winning an argument, you're auditioning a version of yourself that's braver than the one currently sitting in this room. And here's the twist most people miss. The more often you rehearse that self in your head, the more available it becomes in real life. This isn't wasted time, it's identity, under construction. Reason 3, and this is the one people don't like admitting to, the funeral scene. Imagining being missed, mourned, finally appreciated by people who overlooked you. This one connects to something researchers call the need to belong, a documented psychological drive as basic as hunger or thirst. Brain imaging studies have even shown that social rejection activates some of the same regions as physical pain. So, when you imagine a scenario where you're finally missed, finally valued, that's not morbid. That's your brain trying to soothe a very real ache using the only tool it has access to right now, imagination. It's not asking, what if I died? It's asking, quietly, underneath everything, does anyone actually see me? And when the answer feels uncertain in real life, your mind writes a scene where the answer is yes. Reason 4, and this explains why it happens more on some days than others. When your mind is carrying more than it can process, stress, unresolved emotion, things left unsaid, psychologists call the release valve cognitive offloading. Your brain moves excess emotional weight into a space where it's easier to handle, imagination. That's why these scenarios show up hardest on your most overwhelming days. It's not coincidence, it's overflow. Your mind is pouring what it can't hold in real life into a place where it finally has room. So, 4 reasons. A vaccine against panic, a fitting room for identity, a soothing for an ache to belong, an overflow valve for a mind carrying too much. None of them means something is wrong with you, but there is one line worth knowing. Psychologists call it maladaptive daydreaming, when the imagined version stops preparing you for real life and starts replacing it, when the fitting room becomes the only room you want to be in. If you ever notice that happening, there's a simple way back, and it takes 10 seconds. Name 3 things you can physically feel right now. The sheets, the temperature of the air, the sound of the room. That's it. It sounds too small to work, but it's enough to pull your nervous system out of the simulation and back into the moment you're actually in. So, tonight when the argument replays, when you're the one who saves them, when the funeral scene starts on its own, you'll know what's actually happening. You're not broken. You're not wasting time. You're rehearsing courage you haven't needed yet, trying on a version of yourself you're still becoming, and quietly asking to be seen by a world that's been a little too loud to notice. Your mind isn't distracting you from your life. It's preparing you for it. Which one hit closest to home for you? Tell me below.